The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been a cultural tour de force of the 21st century. It has reshaped the landscape of modern cinema, and it has featured its fair share of luxury watches, but not as many as some other film franchises. The stars of the series have worn some amazing pieces, from Robert Downey Jr. wearing Urwerks to Chris Hemsworth in Chopard's to Chris Pratt in Rolex Daytonas. But today we're going to focus on what they have worn on screen and why these watches were chosen, what they say about their characters. Welcome to Doug's Watches, the Thinking Watch channel. Here I like to connect art, design, history, theory and philosophy to the world of watches. And if that sounds good to you, do make sure to like and subscribe. Dr. Stephen Strange. The Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso Rouge, 1931. This elegant red dial reverso appears early on in Doctor Strange as Stephen prepares for a night out before his life-changing accident. It's a beautiful metaphor. The reverso flips its face just as Strange will flip his entire worldview, switching from science to mysticism when he dons his red cape. The rich burgundy dial hints at his vanity and desire to be noticed to soothe the ego of his. It's product placement for sure, but it helps tell the story of his character. Seen briefly among his collection, the Rolex Daytona reflects Strange's pre-accident arrogance, precision, wealth, and a taste for speed. It's the quintessential success watch. He wears it because it tells the world that he has made it. It's not a watch of soul, but of ego. His collection, though, of the identifiable watches that are within it at least, does also feature a Tag Heuer Monaco, an iconic chronograph watch. This gives more weight to his character. He's a car guy, maybe even a fan of Steve McQueen or Formula One. By the sequel, though, we can see Strange in a JLC perpetual calendar, with a smashed sapphire. The smashed sapphire, of course, indicating that this is the watch from his crash, and that this night continues to haunt him. The perpetual calendar fits perfectly with Strange's evolution as a character, and now as a man who literally can manipulate time. The complex calendar mechanism mirrors his control over the universe, but also evokes his old-world mysticism. Take note the moon phase. Well, this style is taken straight from ancient clock designs. As ever, it is nice to see characters reflected in the watches they wear. Now, on the other hand, we have another character who has some notable and interesting watches that, while they don't help showcase his character's progression, at the very least, they help build his identity out that little bit more. When we first meet Tony Stark in 2008's Iron Man, he is at his most flamboyant, wearing his Hublot Big Bang chronograph, a choice that perfectly matches his industrial meets luxury aesthetic. This, after all, is what the Big Bang is. It's mechanical excess, polished titanium, exposed screws, visible gears. Like the first Iron Man suit, it's about spectacle and engineering, a wearable prototype. After all, this was the style of the time. 2008 is not too far removed from the launch of the Aquanaut and the Royal Oak Offshore, where this sort of style was king, before the 5711's hype train came along and changed the landscape of watches forever. Later in the same film, Stark is seen wearing his Italian-designed Bulgari Diagonal Sport, bold, technical, and unmistakably expensive. Its design screams engineer meets playboy. This is the watch for a man who loves innovation, but also loves being noticed. This particular model is a gold-toned one, on a quasi-integrated leather strap. By Endgame, Tony's arc and his watch style have matured and gotten a little bit more complicated, perhaps increasing in line with the complexity of the Iron Man suits. So he's seen with the Urwerk UR105 CT, an avant-garde watch with satellite hours and a futuristic armor case. It's not about brand status anymore for Tony Stark, it's about function and innovation. Because after all, by this point, he's proven he's a genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. In fact, he's proven himself, so he doesn't need a brand to back up his status anymore. In fact, we could say this Urwerk is stylistically more like a mini arc reactor than a watch, symbolizing his complete fusion of man and machine. Urwerk even calls it a watch for visionaries, fitting for a man who literally saves the universe. Sam Wilson, the Falcon, or Captain America. Sam's first appearance shows his military precision and grounded nature within his watch, a Humvee field watch. It fits perfectly, practical, rugged, and purpose-driven. It's not about luxury, it's about reliability, and unlike Strange and Stark before him, he doesn't have the money to swan around with an expensive Swiss piece. After all, he was in the Air Force, a pararescue man. See, Hollywood, take note of this. Not every character needs an expensive Swiss watch, but instead, the right one. In later appearances in the MCU, such as in The Falcon and The Winter Soldier, Sam can be seen in one of Citizen's EcoDrive watches. The literature overanalyzer in me could say that the change mirrors his character development. Citizen's solar-powered tech is fueled by light, and that mirrors Sam's hopeful, forward-looking energy as he becomes Captain America. But in reality, we must admit that this was part of a tie-in with Citizen from the MCU. In The Falcon and The Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes is also spotted wearing a Bryson chronograph. A rugged, modern chronograph, sure, and likely the sort of thing that would end up on the wrist of an operative like the Winter Soldier. However, a Casio would suit as well, and so would a Breitling for that matter. But this appearance was not there to build these characters any further and their story, but place these products and help them sell, just like everything from the Audis and Chevrolets to Adidas and Coca-Cola that are littered throughout the MCU. You'll be familiar with these product placements if you've seen the films, and as you're watching this, I assume you are. But the watches you might have missed, they're branded tie-in watches, and to be honest, I'm not so much a fan. They seem a bit tacky, but I'm sure they help Citizen balance the books somehow. See, unlike many film franchises, the most notable watches of the MCU are actually off-screen, not on them. The MCU has had a host of watches tied in with it from Citizen, because the series of films was never about making art, but making money, and Citizen is an approachable brand for many. But there have been some more interesting watches on the luxury end of the watch world. In 2021, we had the MCU's first collaboration with Audemars Piguet, a watch brand that their actors will wear off the screen. This was the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Concept Black Panther, a true statement piece, hand-carved with a miniature Black Panther figure on the dial. It's a tribute to Wakanda's tradition. Some find it ostentatious, but as ever with the Royal Oak, that is the point. This watch, after all, cost a whopping $160,000. In 2023, AP followed this up with a skeletonized reincarnation of Spider-Man. This skeletonized design reveals a detailed Spider-Man figure suspended over the movement. It's the horological equivalent of Peter Parker himself, complicated, yet open-hearted, and again, very expensive. Nick Fury. Nick Fury's watch of choice is subtle power. The Piaget Polo chronograph exudes quiet confidence, not flashy but unmistakably authoritative, and the Renegade's choice of integrated bracelet sports watches. The integrated bracelet design fits a man who values unity and control, the kind of coordination Fury tries to apply to the Avengers Initiative. If Stark's watches are loud statements, Fury's are whispers that still have the ability to command a room. Which, after all, isn't that what the integrated bracelet category of sports watches is all about? Steve Rogers then, Captain America. Now this is one I couldn't quite confirm myself. The Hamilton car key appears as Steve Rogers' choice when he travels back in time. That is what some are claiming from a slow-mo shot that appears on YouTube. And from the glimpse of the dial and the way the light shines on the case, it likely is this, and probably the 42mm model as well. And it fits. The car key field has its roots in the military issue watches of the Second World War, so of course this is the watch that he should wear. Hank Pym's vintage chronograph is pure genius in 2015's Ant-Man, a Universal Genève chronograph. Universal Genève were a pioneer in chronograph design, and the Uni-Compax is no exception to this. Its understated brilliance, a perfect watch for a scientist, and it could be used for timing experiments and whatever else. It's of course chosen by a man who values function above all else. It feels like something he's owned for decades, a relic of his past as a shield innovator. Hank Pym sports another watch as well, a bronze Hamilton mechanical watch in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, could this be product placement, maybe, or just a decision by the wardrobe department? After all, Hamilton have appeared in a lot of films. Natasha Romanoff then, the Black Widow. The DW5600BB is the ultimate field tool, matte black, unbreakable, and tactical. It's not jewellery, it's equipment, and it happens to go perfectly with Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow's outfits. The minimalist G-Shock fits Natasha's no-nonsense personality perfectly. All mission, no vanity. The black-on-black finish symbolises her stealthy edge and emotional guardedness as well. And yet, It's an affordable, accessible watch, a reminder that her strength has always come from her humanity, something we all ought to have. In the MCU, every watch tells a little bit of a story. They aren't just props, they're pieces of identity, or something that highlights the franchise's desire to turn a quick buck. Doctor Strange's Reverso, Tony's futuristic Urwerk, Black Widow's indestructible G-Shock, each captures something essential about who these characters are, and who they become. As ever, thanks for watching. If you want to help me make more videos, as well as get access to special members-only content, do consider becoming a channel member. If not, do remember to like and subscribe before you go. It helps me out just that little bit. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.